Hey everyone, it's Christos here, aka the FRAG, and say hello to my little friend. That's right, this is Metalhead. He's from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and yes, even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are headbangers. They are. But what we're going to do is we're going to send Metalhead down to the mosh pit in the sewer, because that's where things get really dirty. So we're going to put him downstairs and let him go and scrub himself with a bit of crap. Okay. Listen, before I get started, I wanted to just say, if you like my videos, hit subscribe, because I'm constantly putting out good videos. I'm not sponsored, so anything, nor endorsed, nor given anything in as a gift or benefit in kind. So any review that I give, and I've given up until today, has been completely impartial and only on my experiences. But today's video, what I wanted to do is actually give an update in terms of my Fender Precision Player Series bass guitar that I've had for just over a year, just to give you my thoughts and what the journey has been thus far. So I bought this late August last year, so I've had it just over a year. So this is the Fender Player Series Precision Bass. I'm getting my words mixed up. And this particular model is made in Mexico, so it's not made in Japan, it's not made in America, it's not made in Indonesia or China or anything like that. But having said that, the Mexico factory is about 70 miles or so away from the Corona, California factory. So you've got an older body. Just go over the specs really quickly. You've got your split coil pickups, volume, tone, you've got your bridge, input jack, you've got a modern C shape, precision neck. It's about 42 millimeters wide here at the nut. On a jazz bass, I think it's about 38 or so. You got your standard tulip style Fender machine heads. And the work that I've done here, and you've got your Power Ferro fretboard. The work that I've done is I've added a hip shot kick-ass bridge. Completely recommend it. Get it over and above the basic one that came with it, the vintage bridge. Get it. It is so much more solid. It thumps out a much more solid tone. Not only can you move the bridge saddles back and forth and up and down, but here, this brass piece inside here, you can actually move it left and right. So that way you can get it closer, or if your string's a bit too far to the edge of the fretboard, you can actually move it inward. It's unlimited. And you can adjust the distance of the bridge saddles through the back here. So I've included that. I've removed the old pickups and installed Seymour Duncan quarter pounder pickups, and inside here I've got what is known as an Obsidian wire wiring kit. And Obsidian Wire are a company in New Zealand that provide kits that you can install in your bass guitar or your guitar. And you'll see here, this is one that I've got ready for my Fender Player Series HSH Stratocaster. And here you've got these little banks of ports here, and what you do is you press down on these spring-loaded mechanisms and you just insert the wiring of the pickups or your ground wires, whether it's the bridge ground wire, the tremolo, the body cavity, the output jack, and so forth. And you've got another little screw piece here where some other ground wires can go. And I don't know if you can see, but just there, if you can get into focus, it actually says Shaler made in Germany, so they do use good quality parts. CTS pots and so forth, really good. And this is just the underside, and there's also other components that you get as well. Solderless, completely solderless, so you don't have to get a solder gun and breathe in the lead and everything like that. So it's really good. So that I bought the Obsidian wire kit for the precision bass, and it's in there. The only work that I didn't do really was change the machine heads, because I found that these ones, they do the job. They're not fantastic. They're not like the hip shot. I think the HB7s fit in this one. They do the job and they do it admirably. So I'm happy with that. And plus the hip shot machine heads will probably cost me about anywhere between $170 to $200. So, but overall, if I did have some hang-ups initially, I was getting a lot of buzz on when I was playing, a lot of fret buzz. and it was causing me a bit of concern, and for a minute I thought I may have bought a bit of a dud of a bass guitar, but in the end it actually worked out, because what I did was I had already purchased one of these Fender truss rod adjustment screws, and honestly buy it. It cost me about $20 from Amazon. It's a 3/16, and this is designed specifically for the truss rod screw inside the neck. And you've got to be careful, because if yours is an Imperial and you're using metric Allen key and vice versa, you can damage the threads, and then if it doesn't work anymore, it can be very, very difficult and costly to try and get the blunt truss rod screw out. So definitely recommend that you buy one of these. But then what happened one day, I was just setting it up and taking a bit of extra time and care, and in the end something happened that a lot of the fret buzzing went away. So maybe in the process of being transported from Mexico to Australia, the atmosphere may have affected the contour of the neck, but it really has improved things. Up until then I was using round wounds 45 to 105s. This is the first set that I've actually put flat wounds, and I'll tell you, they play really nice. They haven't got the punchiness of a round wound strings, but nonetheless they play so much nicer, and they're so much easier on the fingers and on the fretboard as well. And what I also found was you've really got a lot of scope to adjust the setup, whether it's string height, the curvature of the neck through the truss rod, and you can really set it up to your to your specification. So overall, I've been very happy with this guitar. I did find that when I first started, the fret edges were a bit sharp, and I was a bit disappointed with that. But then I also have to be mindful that this is a highly mass-produced instrument. The Player series is probably one of the best sellers of Fender, and now the Player Plus series have come out, and Fender's really promoting that the fretboards have been rolled edged to be much more smoother. But that being said, either I've become used to it, or maybe through the playing it's maybe smoothened out some of the edges of the frets, because I certainly don't feel it as much. Another thing I will say is when I first got this, some of the frets looked pretty coarse, like they didn't seem very polished or anything like that. So I don't know if you can see now, the frets look really nice and clean and clear as well. And what I did was I bought some fret rubbers or fret erasers, and they come in different gradings, and what you do is you just put one of these fret covers on top of the frets, and you start off with the most coarse one and work your way up to the most smoothest or finest one. And what you're doing is you're really polishing up the frets really nicely. So what I found is that the dimensions of the precision bass, the width at the nut is about 42 millimeters, 42, maybe 43. A jazz bass, what I found was it's about 38 millimeters. So I wasn't really used to a narrower width at the nut, and this is what appealed to me to buy a precision bass. So I do find that the machine heads, though, even though I haven't changed them and they do work, what you do find is that when you tune it, and on the tuner it says you're hitting E, what I do find sometimes is that if I stop tuning and then I play the string, it seems as though the machine head's turned a little bit more. So what I would recommend is when you're using these Fender Player Series machine heads or tuners, that you turn them slowly, just so you don't get to where you want in terms of the string note, thinking that it's in tune, but then it's actually gone a bit over, and then you've got to turn it back and do the whole thing again. So overall, I'm very satisfied with this. And to give a bit of background, which I probably should have done earlier, I've been a guitarist for pretty much all my life, well, most of my life. It's not like I was born with a guitar. And my teenage years were smack in the middle of the 80s. So your Eddie Van Halens, your Vinnie Moores, your George Lynches. If you want to look at a star-studded cast of virtuoso guitarists, pick up Ronnie James Dio's Hearing Aid, and just look at that, and that's just mesmerizing. And it was only last year that I thought, you know what, I'm going to branch out and start playing the bass. And you know what, I kicked myself for not doing it earlier, because it is such a relaxing instrument to play at the same time, and it adds a different dimension as a guitarist, because you actually start to appreciate the rhythm section of a song rather than just playing chords and lead work and, you know, trying to shred if you're into that type of music like I am. And what I have also found is that the songs that I probably gave up in the past to learn on the electric guitar, when I learned them on the bass, it actually gave me an appreciation to then relearn them on the electric guitar. And at the same time, I know that we're in lockdown and everything, but it also gives you the opportunity that if you ever want to join a band, you're not pigeonholing yourself into one particular instrument. Like, you know, I either play the electric guitar or that's it. You can always join a band to play the bass, and then if the guitarist leaves, well, then you can you know, jump into the guitarist position. But overall, the action now, the setup is perfect. The intonation is spot on. I've got it rather low. I think it's about 1.5 millimeters, 1.75 millimeters in terms of string height or action. And overall, it's a great bass. And, you know, I bought this for about, I think it was about $9.95 or something like that. Actually, no, $9.50 I bought it. And along the way, I've also been fortunate in that when I ordered the quarter pounders, just as they were about to be delivered, I got a message from Amazon saying, we're recalling this delivery because the package has been damaged. So Amazon not only gave me the Seymour Duncan Precision, but they gave me a PJ configuration. So I've got a Jazz Bridge Seymour Duncan quarter pounder pickup spare. So maybe could be an incentive for me to buy a jazz bass and do it. But, you know, look, I totally recommend these basses for what you're paying. You're getting really good value for money. But do your homework. You know, for some people, Fender isn't the right product. For me, you know, who doesn't? I love a precision bass, and I love a Fender precision bass. And now that Fender have released their new Hybrid 2 Made in Japan series, I've got my heart set on a few of them. But, you know, look around, you know, whether it's ESP LTD, whether it's even Squier, whether it's Yamaha, you know, there's a lot of brands out there. You know, your Ibanez's, there's a lot of brands out there that compete fiercely, especially at this segment of the market. So please subscribe, hit like. I'm always posting new videos, and yeah, it's been a real joy to own this bass guitar. And, you know, if you want to start learning the bass, whether you're not a guitarist or playing any other instrument, or you are, you know, this is probably something that you should check out. So thank you very much, folks. Keep safe and stay positive during these crazy times, and God bless you all, and keep rocking. Cheers.